I'm waiting until.
Welcome to another super epic Saturday Bums live stream event. Today, we've got a bear. Joel's sharing the link as we wait. Seriously though, we're glad that you could join us for another live stream event, but something a little bit different planned for you guys today. A little bit more structured, maybe a little bit more informative, a little bit more exciting. Let's do this.
Are you ready? All right. Hello.
Ah,
That's the only thing is
I think it's Chad.
Chad, you're gonna have to read the comments. I don't see too well from this far away. All right. Well, hopefully more will join, but we're happy to have you, Chad. I believe this is. We've got a different idea here. We're gonna start this off with a structure. We have this structure. Itinerary, and we got this idea from Alex Nason. Alex Nason is a patron who, hey, there he is. He throws out a lot of ideas, and they're always good, and we just take them and run with them. So it was our hope to be a little more structured with these live feeds, to actually give information and to be focused instead of just randomly sitting here and taking your time. So we have this itinerary, and we're excited to stick to it. And at the end, we're going to do questions and answers, but feel free to share your comments as they come to you. Anything that comes to your mind, just share it. We love to hear it. And again, at the end, we'll have a questions and answers.
Hello, Alex.
Peter.
Hey.
So we're going to start off with news. The beginning of this segment today will be news. So on March 27th, there is a new decision concerning the land.
Thanks, Alex.
There's a new decision concerning the land that is in question, the one that all these fights were going about. Michael, can you explain? March 27th, a big day.
We spoke to a girl named Astrid at Wendy's bar last night. She knows a little bit more about the situation. She said there were hearings. The court went into a little bit of a recess, and on March 27th, there's going to be another decision made concerning who owns the land, if there will be any more evictions. So we're anxiously awaiting March 27th. This is our bear.
Chad was asking what it is. It's a bear.
I bet you didn't know we had a bear on the boat.
We have a bear on the boat. So yes, March 27th, we're hoping.
She seemed to think we should get the boat in the water by then.
Yeah, so we're going to... Okay, so moving on. Recently, a sailboat named Woodworker was rescued out at sea. It was this huge ordeal. You can hear it on the radio, and they were in distress, and the Navy actually went out, and some of the cruisers jumped on a skiff. I think there was a failed attempt. It took all day, but they're successfully anchored here. They lost their sails, they lost their engine, and they were drifting toward shore. So that was Luperon news, cruiser news, and that was a little scary, but it worked out.
I think they were actually closer to Haiti than they were to the Luperon harbor, because they were just drifting with the current. Yeah, so, but they came in, they're safe. All is well.
Yes, so that's news. Now we're moving on to health. How is the health of the crew? Don't worry, we got Lola down here, but we're just letting her hang out. She's wearing a bow for you guys, but we'll bring her back in later. So health, Michael, you want to talk about your battles this week?
Yeah, I had a worms relapse starting on the 12th that night. Really terrible night, low energy the whole day of the 13th, which was my birthday, and the day that we fiberglassed the keel. We learned that the medicine that we took knocked out the worms, but not the eggs. So mebendazole, good for adults, not good for eggs. Albendazole, that's the heavy hitter. That's the one you should take if you ever get parasitic worms. That's the one that we're on now. Hoping for a full recovery. Feeling great at the moment.
But she was not feeling good during the fiberglassing.
It was a rough week.
It was kind of rough. It was just a culmination of. Hello,
Hey,
Gary.
Barb.
Gary.
Oh, no, I know
Gary and Barb. Oh, backdrop. Okay. Again, so if you're just joining us, we have this structure. We're excited. We're moving right along. We're going to have a questions and answers segment at the end. And again, any questions that you have, please share and get better soon. We are definitely okay. So that was the health. So Michael's getting over the worms. So am I. Lola found food in the trash, I think, last night, and she threw up all over the boat, and there was like a lot of rice, a lot of it. So she's feeling better now, but Lola's health was a little bit in question last night, I think, because she got into the trash food.
She struggles with self-control. She's kind of a binge and purge sort of eater, but we're hoping that she grows out of that.
Yes, and by the way, I think was Gary. You're fixing a soft spot, Gary. Gary just joined us. Sailboat owner, a friend of ours. He's been a patron for a while, and he's got his whole boat projects going on. I think I noticed he cut out his deck and is replacing his core right now. So lots of fun going around for everybody. And then in health, we're still in the health. My hair is still not growing back, so we're starting to get a little concerned. It's just a big bald patch that's still smooth like a baby's bottom, and maybe I'm stressing out a bit. We're not really sure, but a little bit cause of concern there. So Joel's health is a little bit on edge as well.
We will be looking into some home remedies for hair regrowth or natural fixes, things that we can do to remedy the situation.
It might make for a funny segment in the episode where Joel tries all these things to grow his hair back. So it's an idea. Moving on to the boat. Now we're going to talk about the boat. And our plans next is we plan to grind and sand the fiberglass that we just laid and inspect it to see how it adhered, hopefully well. And there's one section that has cause for concern. It was one of the earlier sheets. We decided we wanted to do a full sheet on the port side, but we were a little nervous, so we cut it into 3 sections. And the very first section that we laid, Michael, why don't you tell him? It was kind of a disaster.
Yeah. We didn't have the best communication going on while we're trying to lay this piece. Some random chap walked up who was really wanting information about where to find things in town. We were probably kind of rude to him, just totally focused on what we were doing, bickering amongst ourselves.
We had just wetted the keel. We had just wetted the fiberglass, and we were walking on, and then he just comes up and starts asking us questions, and we're like,
hold on, pal. We're kind of in the middle.
And he's just relentless. And then I kind of snapped at Michael, and then Michael got mad and said, "Don't talk to me that way." And then she clammed up, and then we just completely stopped communicating. And we're sitting there trying to put it on. So there's a part on the aft section we might have to grind out and lay a patch. But other than that, it went really well.
Yeah, we learned as we went. I think we perfected our method as we went. So we got better. The last piece that we laid was
pretty good.
Great. And we did it all in one sheet.
So we're also going to drop the rudder. We've been doing a lot of research, Michael especially, in the books that we've recently acquired thanks to you. And in order to paint the inside of the skeg, the back part of it, as well as to get barnacles and also to inspect the rudder hardware, as well as whether or not it's wet or dry it might be, and then there's a process of drilling holes to dry it out. Yeah. So dropping the rudder will be happening really soon. Hopefully it goes okay. Yeah. But that is coming up soon before we paint. Hopefully this week. So fiberglass, drop the rudder, and then we're going to fill a hole after we inspect it a little more, and then we should be ready to paint. So that's what's going on with the boat.
Yeah, painting's going to be the very last step. It's all going to happen in one day. There's going to be a lot of prep work up to that point, but we just want to get it painted, and then probably 2 days later, boom, back in the water. Which
also reminds me, and then we're going to raise our water line 6 inches or so. So we have to degrease the gel coat portion and then sand that, and then we'll degrease the entire hole and then go over it with acetone, and then the hole will be prepped and ready for the epoxy followed by the paint. So we're kind of getting closer here. We got 7 of you tuning in live. Let's go. That's insane. So we're moving on to the budget. If you're just joining us, we got this really cool itinerary. Got the idea from Alex Nason, and so we're a lot more structured as opposed to just kind of rambling for a certain amount of time and saying whatever.
Trying to make it snappy, entertaining, worth your time.
So the budget, we're going to mention the budget and what Michael's been dealing with that.
Yeah, we received some feedback that the tables that we created were really not easy to view on a mobile phone. I mean, I've been doing all the editing on a laptop and it looked great on just a wide web page, but apparently it's not responsive from big screens to small screens. So I installed a plugin, but basically I'm redoing the entire budget, re-inputting everything in the tables. So it's taking me a while, but my goal is to have that up and going by Monday. Do a lot of work this weekend and get the budget current, more interactive with these tables. We got a cool plugin. So there's a lot for me to figure out there, but I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah, as opposed to how she would do it in Excel and then upload a picture of it. It's not as cool as this plugin, which will actually be made to display it'll be interactive, the tables and stuff, as opposed to a picture of an Excel spreadsheet. So I think it'll be a lot better. And as far as the budget goes, we're doing well. We're with this extended stay on the hard. I love the budget information. Had many good laughs. Good.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're coming, and Michael's making a lot of strides towards a really good presentation of our budget.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So this is going to be a Lola update. Lola, she really loves the beach. We've learned that. She's in heaven at the beach.
Loves the sand, loves to run around, loves to eat sand. Anything she finds in the sand, she's going to eat. She's having a good time. Learning how to be a great guard dog, too.
Correct.
I want to talk about that.
She is a great guard dog. She's very protective, and she barks at everyone, and she's, almost like, okay, Lola, calm down. She's naturally a guard dog.
Very protective.
But she's learning bad habits from the boatyard dogs. One of them is this dog, Baby, who's just a boatyard dog. Doesn't necessarily have an owner. Always follows Michael and I into town. Even when we take the motorcycle, Baby will run behind us through the streets, and we'll be yelling at her, "Baby, no, stop! You're gonna,
Worried she's gonna get run over."
Right, but she's not our dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I went into town yesterday, and Lola, I turned around coming down the hill, and I see Lola running right next to Baby, following me. She ran out of the boatyard and ran up the hill and around. And so Lola, I had to put her on the bike and take her back to the boat. And
poor dog. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that topic as well. The landmines topic. That was not so good. That was not so good. So that's a Lola update for you. Another fun fact is we're going to introduce her to a massive Rottweiler that our friends have.
Yeah, our friends Alan and Cindy have this beast of a dog. He's like a bear. His name is Cujo. His face is like my face and Joel's face put together. Big jaws. And he's actually been known to bite people. So that's a little iffy. But, he was super nice. And I think if we showed up there without
you don't
Alan
want to
and
show
Cindy,
up into that house.
it'd be bad.
Right.
But he likes girls, and Cindy thinks it'd be okay to introduce Lola to him because he's a protector, right? She told us a story of how he protected a bird that flew into their screen glass or their patio door.
It's pack mentality.
Pack mentality? Oh,
right.
Sure.
Yeah, it's true.
Pack.
She is part of the pack of the boatyard pack. It's really cool.
Yeah. But we're going to introduce her to Cujo, which I think will be hilarious. And
did you grab the atlas? Okay. Michael's going to get an atlas for a segment coming up, but our next section will be departure dates. Now, our goal to get into the water is April 7th. That's our goal. It's a little bit stressful when you give yourself a goal, but you have to have one. And so our time frame is April 7th. We want to be in the water.
Which will be exactly 4 months of having been out of the water.
4 months.
4 bloody months.
I'm getting discouraged. It seems like we haven't got a lot done in 4 months.
Is this a good page? Is this?
I think so. Yeah, just to show. So we plan to splash, and then that brings up the next point, which is our grid repair that's cracked. We plan to do that in the water. We're trying everything done, and that'll give the hole the natural shape. And also, there's just these difficulties where we might raise it with the cradle or with the jacks, but then when the boatyard moves it, they have to lift it by the keel. They have no other method of lifting the boat. There is no other way to get it in the water, and so our concern is that we might get it to lift it and fix it, but then it's only going to have to sustain that same pressure once we lower it back down onto the keel, and then once they lift it and move it.
It's like an excessive amount of flexing, over that keel area.
So
I think we want to avoid that.
Yeah, and it's totally solid underneath, so there should be no problem. We'll have to be careful, but there should be no reason why we cannot repair this in the water. It's also worth noting that this was this way all the way here. I mean, we sailed to Cuba, we sailed all the way here. This crack was here the entire time, and that repair was just that way. It's only moved just slightly, so it definitely needs to be addressed, and it's important. But we're going to do it in the water. Now let's talk about cruising plans. Moving right along, we are almost there to the end, and again we'll have a questions and answers section. Cruising plans for this season, since this whole hard fiasco and what we've been dealing with. Realistically, we're hoping to get a few day sails in to test the boat out, to get out on the water and sail Jacques Mate before next hurricane season. And you can tell them about our deadline, really.
Yeah, we don't plan to take Jacques Mate anywhere else for the upcoming hurricane season. We think Luberon is a good place to leave her. We have approximately 3 months until we're scheduled to fly out of the Dominican Republic back to the States. My family has a reunion. My dad's uncle, cousins all live in Hawaii, and that side of the family is hosting the family reunion this year. So we will be going to a family reunion in Hawaii in the end of June. And the remainder of the summer, July and August, is a really busy time for my parents on the farm. So we'll be hanging out on the farm, doing some work, spending quality time with family over the summer. And that's our next hard date that we have something coming up. So the boat will be here.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, though. We really do look forward to going back to spend time with family, but also there's a lot of work to be done on the farm, so we're actually going to be able to be useful, and that's a way for us to earn more money. So, it's important that we have enough, to move forward, and that we can kind of handle this, and you are all making it much more possible for us and giving us more tools, and
yeah,
you're a part of it for sure. And this has not gone exactly to plan, the whole hard thing. So,
well, one reason why we're not rushing off to get somewhere else or do cruising this season is because it's really a long-term goal for us. We're trying to make the boat fit for the next 5 to 10 years. We think we can take her a long ways. Ultimately, we'd like to take her back to where she was built, which is Greece.
Yeah, so we can show you our cruising plan. Now, this is like our long-term. This is truly what we plan to do. It's out there.
It's more of a vision than a plan.
It's a vision, but this is what we're working towards, and we want to do it in Jacques Mate, so you can show them. It might be hard to see, but
yeah, it doesn't come up very well. But obviously, if you've ever seen a map of the world, we'll be hanging out down here in the Caribbean, down to Grenada, coming back up, and then we know that in order to get across the Atlantic this way, you got to do north. So we'll probably hang out in the Caribbean for a little bit, and then head up the eastern seaboard of the United States, since that's something that neither one of us have really experienced. And then if all goes according to plan, we'll be crossing over and cruising around the Med for a couple years, a couple seasons. Who knows?
So yeah, the dream, which it's lofty, but we want to get Jacques Mate back to Greece, and we want to cruise in the Med. And first, we want to get Jacques Mate to St. Thomas, where her hailing port was. the captain who sold us the boat. And so that'll be really cool. And we're really close to St. Thomas. We're almost there. And then the next big one will be, hang out and really explore the Caribbean. Then we'll get to go back through the Bahamas the correct way instead of fighting the wind. And we'll be able to cruise that. And then, like Michael said, eastern seaboard and across. So that's long-term over many years, but that's why we're not in such a rush to get the boat in the water and start sailing somewhere right now. It's more of a long-term process. We want to take this time to make sure Jacques Mate is solid and can handle that kind of a trip. We believe she can.
Peter said he saw the farm video today again. Was one of my favorite. Looking forward to another. Oh, that's awesome. We really appreciate that support. And Joel has some plans for keeping episodes going, sharing a little bit of experience, knowledge, things that we've learned. So I think we will do more consistent filming while we're away from the boat this time, but we'll be working out how to share those experiences too. And Alex, I just updated my passport, so I think it's good for just under 10 years at the moment.
And I still have quite a few years. I think I got my passport 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely something to monitor. And our boat registration is up to code. We're registered with the U.S. Coast Guard, and we do that every year. So we have plenty of time on that registration. So those are some important things. The yard will be able to
boat under the lead portion. Yeah, right now we're sitting on the lead portion with one of the beams that goes into the trailer. So there won't be a lot of juggling or any moving around there when we go back into the trailer.
Yeah, we'd love to stop by Alex and Dave. The immigration fees for Dominican Republic haven't been too bad, really. I think it was maybe for everything, the boat and us checking in was $200.
But I think that is in order to stay for 3 months. And since we've been here longer than 3 months, we might have to pay some exit fines. But we've heard that the fines are not more than what you would pay up front to be legal. So it's you're not worse off to do it on the back end.
The answer is we'll tell you when we check out. We'll share it all, however much we have to pay. We're going to have to pay. We've been, I think, $15 a month we have to pay to the country for our boat. And then there will be some other fees, and we know they're manageable, and we'll give you exacts once we check out. Meetups on the East Coast would be too cool. That would be, and that's again long term, but it is something we're planning on long term. So we're in this for the long haul, which is why we're ready to take the break off the hurricane season, go work, save up money, and also it's a great time to spend with family and friends.
I did hear from Astrid at the bar last night that if you're here for 2 hurricane seasons, that's okay. You're probably just working on the boat. You still plan to sail. But if you're here for 3 hurricane seasons, that's starting to look like you got stuck in Luperon. So I think we got to get out of here before the next hurricane.
Which is totally doable. But this got out of control. We've learned a lot.
Yeah. Let's see. We got.
In fact, let's talk about what we've learned.
Gary says 18-month countdown started. Maybe we can connect somewhere. The med sounds awesome. Cool. 18-month countdown.
18-month countdown till Barb retires? Is that what you're saying, Gary? Can you confirm that? Gary and Barb are a couple. They've been waiting for Barb to retire. They live on a boat. We met them in Tampa. Their boat's name is Delight. It's a beautiful boat, and they've 18 months and Barb retires, guys. That's huge news. We'll have a new full-time cruising couple, but they have it. They're awesome. They have a condo. They have they could rent it out. They have a place for their boat. They've got it figured out. Yeah, they're doing it well, and Barbara's awesome. Can't wait for that.
Is Lola going to Hawaii? I kind of like that idea. I was talking to my mom the other day. She's nervous about what we're going to do with Lola while we go to Hawaii. I mean, my parents have farm dogs that just run free on the farm. That's what they do. And so when my parents leave, somebody comes by and feeds the dogs, but they pretty much do their own thing. I don't really want to ditch Lola, just go somewhere and drop her off and say, peace out, be fine for a week. So we're working it out, but maybe Maybe. We'll see.
It's a big responsibility.
She's a traveler. She's learning to be.
And we're almost, and we're basically almost through this whole list and then questions and answers, but we're loving these comments. Thank you guys. This is a lot more interactive. Thank you, Alex. Like this is what more we had in mind, a little more communication, a little more
and
functionality.
Peter said if we're in the Med, he might take his van down and have a look at some harbors around there. So that would be sweet.
That van is awesome. And congratulations to Peter, who just got a van fixed up and legalized, which sounds like it was a big process. And so he's the Land Cruiser in a van, and he's also a patron here as well. So what have we learned this week, Michael? The two important, just...
With the fiberglassing?
Yeah, we learned about mixing epoxy. Having an efficient way to mix a large amount of epoxy is important.
That was the biggest thing with the project. The next time we do a fiberglass epoxy anything, we are going to order the pumps that West Systems supplies ahead of time, because I think that would have made the whole thing go way smoother.
So much smoother. Just having the pumps to, we need more, pump, mix it, as opposed to our original method was
carefully pouring into a spoon.
I would hold a spoon and pour it. So it would
here.
take both of us to do 5 spoonfuls to 1, and we were using so much epoxy that we needed like 15 little spoonfuls to 3. So eventually we measured in a cup and taped it off 10 spoonfuls, and eventually we did 15. So then we could just fill it up to that line and then add 3 spoonfuls of hardener.
Yeah.
And so we got smoother. But in the beginning, trying to do that, and we didn't have enough, and it was drying. So the pumps are totally worth it, and we're going to have them before we do the fiberglass job. And the other thing that I learned is to be more thoughtful and to pick up Lola's poop. I'm not just saying I shouldn't have showed that, and maybe I should do that, but Michael has invented this code of ethics. She calls Michael's code of ethics. And it's basically where
That's not true. I didn't invent it. I just heard about it, read it somewhere. I don't know whose code of ethics it is, but
I think Michael invented it.
It's not mine.
It's basically where you think if everyone were to do this, how would that be? And so I'm like, well, yeah. But a lot of dogs are wild here, and they just poop everywhere. I mean, there's a dog that you see in the episode that lives on the beach. It's not really owned by anybody. It lives on the beach. It eats food from people that eat at the restaurant, and it scrounges and lives on the beach, and it's a happy dog. But no doubt that dog is pooping all over the beach. But still, do your best what you can do. So I'm sorry about the poop. And it was kind of a weird week, and I think that I do that sometimes in my episodes. And if I'm feeling a certain way, I'll just kind of self-destruct it or do something just really that I regret later on. But I was just feeling we'll get to that. We're almost there. So let's talk about the blog and the website. And Michael's made some updates and changes.
Yeah, the homepage is a little bit different. Added an About Us section. I did get a link to the Amazon wish list at the bottom of the homepage. That was tough. Anyways, so there have been some changes there. I have a new blog post in the works, and the bums budget section is the main focus. That's coming along. The website work is you sit down for hours at a time, and by the time you're done, you're not really sure that anything's changed or you've accomplished much on the website. But
Pooper scooper.
I think it's coming along.
Yeah.
The pooper scooper feature. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
let it go.
The poop was kind of funny also.
Fisher.
I know, and we have this troll that's just so mean. He hates our guts, but
he's watching every episode.
He does watch every episode, so I mean it's fine. But
Cliff Crowley.
He's really mad at us for pooping in the harbor, which every boat does. And Michael made the point that it's just the way that this system works here. Is it all flows down in all the houses, the whole town of Luperon. There is no sewage plant. It's all drained and eventually goes right into the same harbor. And every boat here, it's not like Florida. There is no boat that goes around to drain you out. There's nowhere to go. So the boats here, that's what they do. There's no other way. And boats have been here for 11 years. And it's perfectly normal. There's so much sea life here. There's people that fish in here every day, constantly pulling out fish and lobsters. So it's interesting. It's different. I know. But we'll pick up Lola's poop. We'll get a pooper scooper. We're not animals here.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Worms. I think that's why worms are so prevalent. Is because there's a lack of sewage treatment.
Or the lack of chemical treatment.
That too.
But yeah, maybe. So we're almost wrapping it up. Alex suggested that we do a philosophical segment, which we loved it. I mean, we've literally followed Alex's guidelines down the line. His itinerary was epic, and he's like, maybe philosophical. So we're not having any kind of mind blowing ideas or trying to preach. But what came to mind about the philosophy segment was an ordeal that I'm currently dealing with, where Michael and I have met a Jehovah's Witness named Wally, and we've talked to him quite a few times, and he always insists to meet up. And Michael actually didn't go last time, which was this last week, but I go because I have an open mind, and I'm testing myself, and I'm trying to be open and have the conversation with a Jehovah's Witness. I don't know, I got back really drained from the last one. It affected the week, as well as Michael being sick.
And the way that Wally approaches these conversations, and partly why I didn't go, is because I haven't spent as much time reading the Bible as Joel has. But the way he approaches the conversation is bring your questions. Write these questions down. Any question that comes to you as you're reading the Bible, as you're interpreting it. And then it's like he'll be there with all the answers. With
his Jehovah's Witness
to
phone,
your questions.
or his app on his phone, that he can type in a question, and it'll give what the verse is, and then the Jehovah's Witnesses meaning of it. So you have a question. He has this phone with him, and he types it in, and let's go to this scripture here. And it's starting to really kill me. I'm trying to go, and I share my ideas, and I don't really even know what my motives are. Why do I go? I say, well, he reaches out to me and he wants to talk, and it's an engaging conversation. So,
I think you're interested in discussing the Bible.
To discussing the Bible. I have an interest in the Bible for my own reasons. I think it's a very influential book, to say the least. Whether the stories are actually happened or didn't, I think there's so much in there. It's very interesting, to say the least. And it's a way to communicate with some people who base their life on the Bible, so you can understand them more. So it's just kind of an attempt, I think, to understand this world we're living in.
But I think what wouldn't be draining would be a dialogue. if it was a sharing of ideas, as opposed to, I've got all the answers, you've got all the questions, bring me your questions, and I can answer anything that you might have. I can provide a way for you to go about doing things, because I've found my peace through the Bible, through this religion. So I think this could be beneficial to you too.
And I mean that's. But Dave has a question. There's no 3-mile rule here. There's not. No, there's.
Does that have to do with sewage? And
sewage, yeah. He's still talking about, like, in Florida, you have to be 3 miles offshore. I thought it was 10 actually, but maybe 3. In order to flush into the ocean. But here, that's not a rule. The Navy. Everybody even does it, participates. And like I said to this guy, even if we were to take our dinghy and drive into town, or go into town and go use one of the bathrooms here, it's going to end up in the harbor anyway. You're kind of stuck. There's no way to not do that.
There's a creek that runs through town that just everything flushes into that creek, which it's like it flushes into the. So
there.
Anyways.
Okay, and the last little segment is in philosophy segment is we've been listening to The Iron Heel by Jack London and The Seawolf. Those are 2 books, and Michael has them, so we can listen to them, and they're amazing books, very thought-provoking.
Yeah, he's got an awesome way of writing, and the way he uses fiction to demonstrate his ideas about the world, about human nature. We're really enjoying that.
So any questions and answers? Maybe you've read Seawolf or Iron Heel. Iron Heel is amazing, Alex. I'm telling you. It's a crazy book. And it's one of Jack London's.
The drone piloting, we are really hoping to do some drone shooting on the day at the beach, because it's such an amazing beach and the water is gorgeous, but it's so windy on a daily basis. We need to get out in the morning in order to do some drone footage.
Yeah, I had the drone at the beach, but it was so windy, I was nervous to go for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm still somewhat new, and
But the
I don't
beach
know.
and also Cindy and Alan's place up on the hill is really cool too. Maybe we can strut the drone up there.
Yeah, we're excited to do more drone flying. It's been just kind of an on the hard couple months. Sorry, I didn't see this happening this way. Okay, any other questions? If not, you guys have a great Saturday. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for tuning in.
And
Thanks for providing your favorites and least favorites. That was awesome feedback. Really appreciated that from last week.
Yeah, we enjoyed the ideas. We enjoyed the feedback. Alex, thank you again. He's had quite a few of them. Reminder to have fun.
Yes.
Yes, religion is a sensitive subject. Right. Thank you. Yes. No, David. That's why I'm kind of forcing myself to talk to Wally against my my natural self is like, no, I don't want to go have this talk with a Jehovah's Witness. Most people, if one knocks on your door, you're like, oh, go away. But I'm making myself be open-minded and have this conversation, and it's actually teaching me a little about myself, and it's making me think a little. But again, it's actually had me struggling a bit. Like, why do I talk to him? Anyways, but it's true. It's a touchy subject. Thank you, Gary. I think you're awesome, and I can't wait to see you and Barb.
And congrats on the 18-month
Congrats,
countdown.
Barb. 18 months, and then they're both retired, and they'll be cruising. That vessel is cruise worthy for sure. It's made for the Bahamas with the shallow keel. Covered ground. What you got? You covered a lot of ground. Alex, we literally used your guideline, and it was epic. And we like this, and we want to keep getting better. This is our 8th live feed, and I felt like this was more fun. And maybe you'll look forward to the next one because there's you kind of know what you're gonna get, and hopefully we always have something new to talk about. But glad we're getting off the hard.
Spring commissioning
on my new.
That's
Psyched.
awesome.
Another boat owner as a patron.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We're not businessmen on a boat.
2002, Catalina, 36. That's epic. 36 feet is 3 feet is such a big difference from our boat to a 36 footer. Is like, wow. Let's see. Structure was a good idea, but remember, you're not businessmen on a boat. Correct. So we're hoping to be still off the cuff, but with a little structure. But right. Should I take this off? Is that what you're saying? Was this too much?
The collared shirt.
It's a collared vest. I've been sailing around with this for a long time. I haven't ever worn it.
It looks kind of fratty.
Okay, I won't wear it next time. Sorry. Let's see. My religion is Boab. Okay,
That could be dangerous.
a little dangerous, but you're welcome to any thoughts that you want to think. I'm not going to steer you away from it. But I think, like, if Cliff probably were to see that, oh man, I couldn't imagine the hateful comments that would come from that. Good job. All right, everybody, it's Saturday.
This is great. Thanks for tuning in.
Go out there and get them.
And we'll do the same.
And we'll do the same. And keep your feedback and questions and ideas coming. We're feeling good. We were a little wore out last week. It was to be honest, but we're in good spirits.
We're just riding that wave.
We're riding a wave. We were a little. I was editing the episode and lacking inspiration. I was tired. I just talked to Wally, the Jehovah's Witness. I'm just being real with you guys. It was like, I'm putting this Lola pooping on the beach scene. I don't care. I'm putting it. Oh, man, why did I do that? All right, everybody.
All right.
It's good catching up. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
See you on the other side. Adios.